You ever notice that these days some people just don't know how to do the fundamentals? I'm really not sure why that is. I taught my kids how to change tires. Brandon, you taught anybody how to change a tire?
Oh, yes.
Well, I know you don't have kids, so it's kind of moot, but you know.
All the time.
You know how to change a tire?
I know how to change a tire.
Even
that's one thing I know how to do.
vehicle tire?
Oh yeah.
Man,
Come on.
I'm impressed. All right, guys, let's get on topic. Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you are watching another episode of Toolbox Topic. Today, I'm relatively unprepared, and I don't have a snappy intro, but I am joined by my co-host, Brandon Van Leuven.
Hi.
Brandon, how the hell are you?
I'm a little hungover today.
It figures. Damn bourbon drinkers. Anyways, we are coming to you once again from the Trek Bicycle Store in West Phoenix in Goodyear, Arizona, as always. So, what are we going to talk about today, Brandon?
Almost every day someone asks me, how do I change a flat tire?
Are you kidding me?
Let's do this. Let's show the people how to change a flat tire.
Wait a minute. People still ask how to change a flat tire.
Absolutely.
Man.
People, right?
I'm telling you, people. Anyways, all right, guys. So today's topic is how to actually change a tubed flat tire.
Correct.
Not to be confused with tubeless. It's a different procedure, more or less, with the goop and everything like that. So we're gonna show how to correctly change a tube tire. So let's get on over to the workbench and get started. All right. One. All right, Brandon, so now we're standing in front of the bike, obviously garden variety, and can I safely assume that this procedure is good for all tubed tires? Just for everybody watching, whether you're a road bike, a hybrid bike, a mountain bike, if it has a tube, this is essentially the procedure, except for maybe a bike that has a coaster brake, so there's no cassette, but
right.
Essentially it's the same.
Essentially, the actual changing of the tube is the same.
Okay.
What I will point out is a lot of the interfaces now are different. So the one interface I'm going to show, the quick release,
right,
it's not always relevant to everybody's bike. We have through axles, we got bolts, solid axles, things like that. But
some tires have 4 lug nuts, some have 5. If you're rolling a diesel, you might have 8 or 10, but the procedure for the most part is the same.
That's correct.
I don't want any comments going, well, my bike doesn't look like that on the rear tire. If that's your response, put your head underwater and breathe deep. Okay, how's that sound? No, I'm joking, guys. Seriously, I'm joking. But Brandon, I'm really not.
I know.
So, all right. So what's the first thing we do? We got a cassette. We have a flat tire. We need to get this tire off. What do we do?
Yeah, for demonstration's sake,
I'll tell you what we do, Thomas.
Not-
We need to get some bourbon. Brandon mentioned being hungover, and I was invited to the party. Brandon, don't tell me you've been watching Skinamax again. Come over here and touch me, Brandon. Come over here and make friends with me. Enough of that. All right, let's go, Brandon.
So for demonstration's sake, here we are.
For at least 9 more months, dude, until this heals up. 9 more months.
Gross.
Okay, so for demonstration's sake.
We have our flat tire here.
Okay.
Look at that.
It's flat.
Go figure. Arizona, we have a flat tire.
Right.
Luckily, we have the benefit of having a stand here. If you don't have a stand at home, it's going to be a bit more difficult to do this. It's more dexterity required to do that, and maybe we can do that at another time as well. But the first thing I want to do, I get this thing in the stand, I have a flat tire. Let's do this. Let's just run through this tire right quick, just over the top, and see kind of what's going on the top of this thing.
Okay.
At this point, we can see if there's thorns, things like that inside there, and kind of get an idea of why we got that flat tire. If I don't see anything on there, all right, we're going to tear it open anyways. To remove the wheel, I want to first switch my gear to the highest gear, or the smallest cog in the drivetrain.
So now,
all the way down.
Real quick, Brandon's calling this the highest gear, which he is correct. I call that the lowest gear. You know why? Because it's the lowest on the cassette. How dumb am I? But I will never change. To me, that's always the lowest gear.
That's all right. We still get it confused sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So
right.
I've now changed this, and this is going to make it easier for both the removal and the installation of the wheel back when we have changed the tube and everything's good to go. So now take that wheel out.
Yeah, so there's a quick release on the back. It's always going to be on the side opposite your derailleur, guys. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull that quick release. Whoops! So you're going to put a little tension on here. And because I goofed it up, there we go. Gonna pull that around. Voila, you're gonna let that go. And now the tire is off and we can go ahead and make the repair. Yep. All right, let's go back over to the counter. Let's get this done. All right, guys, as you can see, we're back at the counter. Now, if you were in your garage or something, you might have like a milk crate to sit on or a stool or something, but it's gonna be easiest to change this on some type of workbench or table or something. Not saying you couldn't change it on your garage floor. So we're doing this just for simplistic reasons. So.
All right. So here's our dang blessed flat tire.
Okay.
We're gonna change this tube out. Some tires are tighter than others on the wheel. So if I don't have to use a tire lever tool to remove the tire, I won't. This one is fairly loose on this one. It's not a super high performance tire and wheel selection, so I can pull it off by hand. But just for demonstration's sake, how you'd want to use this lever is by pulling back a little bit on the tire bead, and then you get underneath it, and now you can use this guy to remove the bead off the tire.
Gotcha.
If you are, again, using a very tight tire, you can put it on the ground and use your body weight, push it down off there, and that works as well. It is not necessary to remove the entire tire from the wheel. You can, at this point, we know we have a flat tire. I need to find out what's going on. I can now just remove the inner tube while that tire is still on there. It's just going to save a step later on.
Right.
So I'll remove the bad tube. If you want to, you can inflate this to see where the hole was and just to kind of see what's going on.
Right.
But what we typically do is we've already looked on the outside in the stand, and now what I'm going to do, I run my hand, always going away from me so I can see debris that I didn't catch. I'm going to run my hand through there and see if I can feel any thorns, glass, wire. Sometimes there's these little pieces of wire in there that'll snag you.
And be careful when you're doing this, guys, because Brandon brings up a point. Sometimes the culprit for the puncture is
something sharp.
Something very sharp. And I've done it before, yes, young and dumb, just zipping my hand through there, and it was a piece of copper strand wire. But it was enough just to rake my finger right open, or even worse, sometimes the sidewall, I don't know, back in the day, it used to get sharp.
They still get sharp.
Yeah,
They do get dried out and sharp.
As you're running your hand on that, you will cut.
It is like a razor blade.
Across your hand right there.
Still happens.
And it is horrible. And then you'll bleeding everywhere and everything like that. And Lord knows you don't want that type of, that's right, Lord knows, we remember what happened the last time we got our fingers smashed. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I figured I'd wear this hat. Since Brandon's afraid of me, Brandon, is this better for you? Will you touch me now?
I don't know. I don't know if it's any better or not.
Come on now, touch me, baby. Can't you see that I am not afraid?
This is why the videos take so long.
Right, And here you thought you were just going to learn how to change a tire. All right, we're done. All right, continue, Brandon. Enough shenanigans.
Where was I? All right, I was checking the inside for debris. Pete's sakes. So I'll run through here. Hopefully I found the culprit. I'll remove it, whether it's a piece of wire like we were talking about or a thorn. While I'm in there, the wheel also has a rim strip in here. This rim strip that we see protects the tube also from the sharp pieces inside the wheel.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So at this point too, I'm always going to double check to make sure that this rim strip is centered and covering all the sharp pieces of the wheel.
So the rim strip, you can see it kind of covering the spokes right there.
So I will go through there, just double check everything on there. Now that we're looking good, we've removed the debris, I'm ready to install the new tube.
All right.
Some people still use patches. That's fine. It's not really what we consider a permanent fix. Right. Let's remove the debris. Let's just put a brand new tube in there every time. This is more for just getting you home, in my opinion.
Yeah, and so I kind of want to be clear. Tubes are fairly inexpensive these days. And if you're out on the trail and you don't have a spare tube, sure, patch, get home, but change that tube, because a patch, definitely not permanent, and it will go out at the worst possible time. But it's always good. I know Brandon, well, I shouldn't speak for Brandon. He carries nothing in his pack. If you watch the episode, he's got nothing in there. I carry a patch kit and an extra tube. And of course, my patch kit's different because I'm running tubeless tires.
Yes. Right.
So, but it's good to have a backup. So yeah, definitely, if you're gonna use a patch, in your head, know that, okay, I need to get to the bike shop and get a new tube for my tire. So,
right.
All right, now I've never been able to do this. I always have to remove the tire, put the tube in there, and then put it back on there. So Brandon's gonna show us how to expertly do this without removing the tire.
What I want to do now is, we're assuming that we're at home, our flat tire's at home, and we have access to a compressor or a pump. I want to give this tube just a little bit of shape.
Yep.
I got my handy pump right here. So I haven't put a ton of air in it, just enough once again to give some shape. And I'm going to start at the valve. Here's my valve hole. There's my valve. I'm going to start here. Get this guy in here, and now just cover that tube up with the tire.
Now, as you're doing this, back in the day, I used to put a little baby powder on the tires.
I know, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
It smelled so good. I think it's a carcinogen too.
Of course,
it's giving babies cancer.
Everything's unhealthy these days. So watching these videos might actually give you cancer.
Yeah, so. It's just going to give you something.
And penicillin won't clean it up for you guys. All right, enough. This is why it takes so long. You can't stay on topic.
No. Jesus. So this is typically the hardest part.
Okay.
Getting everything back on again. Some tires you'll feel both sides of the beads will stick to the inside of the wheel.
Right.
It's important not to loosen up the entire tire on the wheel, which is just fine. This will give us a little bit of room later on to get the bead on when it gets tight.
Okay.
Start away from the valve.
And work your way to it.
And we're going to work our way to it.
Okay, again, I'm actually learning something because I always started
at
the valve and worked my way around. Now, is there a reason as far as starting away? And I'm not trying to egg on or anything, but I'm just curious. Why do we start opposite side of the valve stem?
Because what I can do now is I can pinch. So the rim is always shaped like a U or a V. And when I can put the bead in the center of it, it gives me more room as I get to the valve to get on a real tight tire.
Okay.
So what I can do now, we've loosened both sides of the bead up. I'm going to pinch this guy. I'm assuming now that this is a tight tire. It's not. This thing is super easy. But you can, if you have a tight tire, you can pinch this down so that both beads are in the center of the wheel. And as you get to the end, this one pops right on. This one's super easy.
And I've fought with them before to try to get them to come on there.
Assuming that this is a tight one again, you will now use your lever to get that you took the tire off to get it back on again. And now I want to be very, very careful not to pinch the inner tube that's inside there.
Right.
So I will use this guy, and you can run it like this. What I tend to do is, as it gets tighter, I'll use my thumb to hold on to the spoke.
Yeah, I've done this before, and you kind of work it.
Right. And now what I never do is I never pull this thing all the way around in the fear of pinching a tube.
Right.
So I'll probably go maybe only 3/4 of the way up and get that thing on there, and hopefully it snaps into place. Some are tougher than others, for sure.
I've fought a couple in my time, for sure. So awesome.
And it could be quite a challenge at times. But now we're ready to inflate and get this thing back on the bike and get back on the road.
Let's get back to the bike, guys. All right, we're back at the bike, Brandon. Time to bring it on home. Put it all together.
Yep. Here's another potentially challenging part. If you don't have a stand and you're out on the road, this could be a real pain.
Oh yeah.
And cause some frustration. But luckily enough, we're in the shop today. We have the stand, and we have had the foresight to move this thing into the highest gear. And then what we're going to do is replace this back on the highest gear. The chain, I should say, back on the highest gear. And this is really the key to getting this thing on nice and smooth. Couple things. This one is a quick release again, and we have a disc brake. So we need to line up 3 things at one time to get this thing in smooth, while at the same time giving the derailleur just a little bit of room so I can move it back in.
Right.
So I'm looking at my my disc brake, and then it's right back in there. Now,
nice and easy.
What you'll see us do is we'll use our knee a little bit in here just to hold that thing straight, close that up, and we're ready to inflate.
Nice. Awesome.
I got my handy compressor right here. This particular tire goes up to 65 pounds. We'll get it up there. Go kind of slow because we don't know what the bead's going to do. We're going to inspect the bead a couple times just to make sure everything's seated nice and correctly. And we'll air this guy up to pressure. Valve cap, we're all set. We're running, we're riding.
I like it. So, I mean, as you can see from the procedure, sure, we were a bit specific and a little bit more methodical, I guess you could say, but we wanted to make sure we covered all aspects of it. Again, this is garden variety. Other than okay, maybe your bike doesn't have disc brakes, it's got rim brakes, or you have a through axle as opposed to a quick release. But essentially, that's it. And it doesn't matter if you're...
those are the basics.
Yeah. A hybrid like this, a road bike, mountain bike, or even a thorn-resistant tube or one that's already pre-filled with slime or something like that. Sure, it's going to be a bit thicker material.
But the procedures are all the same.
Yeah, the procedure's exactly the same. So, yeah, and that's it. It's that easy. Now, we actually took like 19 minutes to get through because Brandon
Because of the shenanigans.
Yeah, blame it on this guy. It's this guy. No, it's not Brandon. It's me. It's always me. So
It can be a very quick process with a little bit of practice.
yeah, changing the tire, not these videos. It'll never be a quick process. So. All right, guys. Well, that's it. And yeah, so there you have it. If you found this video entertaining, we discussed this last time. If you found it educational, or if you just straight up feel sorry for us, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, as it helps out the channel immensely. Now, as always, there's going to be some links below. They're not affiliate links. We do not receive any type of monetary compensation should you choose to use those links, but they're there for your edification. There's also a link to Jet Bicycle Store West Phoenix.
Thanks.
So if you have any questions about this episode, a past episode, any questions in general about bikes, they won't be available till 2022. Go ahead and follow that link. Give Brandon or any of the guys a call down here at the shop. They'd be more than happy to help you. They're a wealth of bicycle information. Right?
We're pretty good.
It's the rumor, anyways.
Yeah. We try hard.
So, but definitely show these guys some love. So, yeah, and that's it, guys. We can't thank you enough for your support. We know that you have choices when it comes to watching content. We're very excited that you keep coming back here. It makes us happy, and it definitely helps out the channel. So, on that note, my friends, what do we always say? Be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards out on the trail. We got to ask, what are you waiting for? Get out, Arizona. We will see you on the next adventure. Brandon, thanks so much, my friend.
Another one of the books.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Take care, guys.